Do we
No.
even know? Do we even know what we're doing anymore with
No.
social media?
No.
No. ASMR. Cue the intro. Cue the intro. Hey, and here we are again. Welcome to another episode of What the Social. And today's episode is definitely about what the social.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, my name is Wei,
And I'm Jennifer.
and we are your hosts for this podcast. Now, this one's a little bit vulnerable in the sense that we are both talking about social media. We talk about social media, and yet, despite that, we are human and we struggle with it. And that's what this episode is about today, because I think the struggle is real. It's called When the Social Media Hits a Wall, or When Our Social Media Efforts Hit a Wall. And I thought it was just
Have you?
me, because you
No.
do a lot of my social media stuff and you expect me to provide content and stuff like that. I literally forgot to do one of my weekly live sessions yesterday. So I'm going to do it after
It
this.
happens.
And I don't think it's because I forgot per se lately. I feel like I've been spinning wheels and not getting anywhere. And so I guess we'll talk about in this episode why that is, because this is not the first time I've hit a social media wall. I mean, have you ever hit a social media wall?
Oh, yeah,
Hmm?
definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely. In fact, we're just coming out of one. We're coming out of the crash phase.
right.
We're getting a tune up.
Right. So if you are actively on social media, whether it be for a personal level and you're doing it on purpose, I think it's mostly who we're talking to today are people who are looking to build a brand, build their business, establish their position as an influencer, and they've hit that proverbial wall where you feel like you're not getting anywhere. And if that's something that you're challenged with or being dealing with, then this is the episode that you want to pay attention to. This episode's for you, just for you. You.
Do you feel like when you say hitting a wall, do you feel that it is burnout type of wall
Yeah.
or
For me, it
doing too
is.
much? Or do you feel like hitting the wall is people aren't liking my stuff?
I
What's going
think
on?
both. And it
Yeah.
depends on how you're designed. Me, for example, for me, how I'm driven is through the feedback that I get from my audience. So when I love speaking live, I love doing live trainings because I can feel it's palpable for me. I can feel the feedback and the energy in the room, and that feeds me. And it's not because I'm doing it for that. It's because that gives me information on whether or not I'm on the right track for helping the audience or helping the people that are there that day with me.
Right, because you're all about helping people in different areas of their life, and your information. Yeah, I could see that.
Right. And so the challenge, I still remember doing my very first ever virtual training. And it was a while ago where people actually called in on their phones to listen. The Zoom was just getting off the ground. And
Oh
so,
yeah, I
yeah,
forgot about that.
yeah, it was
All
on.
those call-ins.
Yep. And then to raise your hand, you actually had to hit a button on your phone to raise your hand. And I was like, I think that's somebody. Hello, you're on the air.
Yeah,
and
I forgot all about that. You're
mhm.
right.
And I remember the very first training that I was doing for the very first time that was virtual. I was staring at my computer screen. There was no camera at the time, and I was just staring at the microphone, and I was like, who am I talking to? Is there anybody even gonna be there? Right?
Right?
How far we've come, you know, with now it's like I'm usually speaking to nobody. I'm speaking to the camera, and now we're going live. And I guess it catches up sometimes because of how much I thrive on feedback. And again, not everybody, needs that, because there are some people who love the social media space because they can essentially hide, but that's where they feel most comfortable. They don't have to interact with another human being.
Yeah, that's me.
That's you. So what kind of burnout do you experience, and how come I can't hear you? Your microphone is.
Oh, did it go down?
Oh, there it is. Yeah,
How about now?
now you're back. What happened? That was weird.
I'm back. I did a little adjustment while you were talking. I'm sorry.
Stop doing that. And it's not for me, because what if people actually want to hear you? Hello.
I actually want to hear me.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, for me, we've built a community of people who I'm very happy. They tend to just like things just because they want to be supportive of us. And that's great. But looking at like time, just looking at a few things, we on some of our platforms didn't feel like we are providing value. And I know 100% that to quote unquote win at social media, you have to be engaging and provide value. And
Right.
so a couple platforms we analyzed and we just weren't providing that.
How?
So
But aren't you always showing up in a place of sort of like providing value and teaching things and showing people how to do things? How is that not valuable? I mean, what would you be? What would you define as value? And I know a lot of people struggle with that sometimes. It's like, is what I'm creating valuable to my audience that I want to help and support? For those that actually are
yeah.
doing it on purpose, right? With a purpose.
So I'll get real specific. We looked at our Instagram channel,
Mm-hmm.
and for us, we were not, in my opinion, talking with my team, the content that was being provided there just wasn't what I would say is really helpful to a small business.
Mm.
And we noticed that with the hashtags we were using and the engagement that we were getting other social media companies, which is great. I'm
Okay.
glad, but
Right.
that's not our demo. That's not our target market, right?
Right.
So that's why when I looked at that, I'm like, okay, I'm happy that they are here and showing up and are able to use kind of the things that we're doing,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not our target demographic. So we just finished, we just started, should be launching next week, which should be our
Mm-hmm.
first one, a 3-month campaign
Mm-hmm.
on Instagram that's going to be really different.
Hmm.
So
Okay,
stay
so,
tuned.
but that does that excite you when you are able
It
to
does.
see? My challenges right now is like and I think it's because it's your world, and I know it's important in my world to be available as a resource to my audience, so that they can find me. My challenge is anybody even listening? Is my content even getting out there? And admittedly, here's the thing: is that you know I've always wanted the social media piece to be there to help and support. And thus far, where it's actually shown up best is as as for clients who are considering to work with us, work with me, work with our company, and they want to do their due diligence. So they're able to find us easily and look at what it is and how it is that what my perspective of you and what my tone is and everything like that. But thus far, as a way to bring in new people, have them aware that that we are a resource that can help them. It's been
Mm-hmm.
challenging, and I think admittedly it's been a little frustrating to the point where it's kind of taken the wind out of my sails. It's like, are all my efforts even helping right now?
So there's a lot that is at play, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, you also have to think about branding, right?
Mm-hmm.
So branding is a huge, and that's lead generation and branding are two different things.
Right.
So if you're focused on lead generation, that can be a quick source of burnout on social media because the sales cycle with lead generation on social media is a little longer than it
Mm-hmm.
would be for
Mm-hmm.
like Google or ads or in person,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that can definitely do that for
Right. And
people.
I've been in this game for several years now, and so it's when I hear about people who are in my position, they've been doing it for several years, I can absolutely appreciate the burnout effect that surfaces every once in a while.
Yeah.
But sometimes we hear about it from people who have not even been in the game for a year. And so I think is do you think it's because the expectations are set way too high for what they're looking for? I mean, if you're listening to this right now and if you've experienced any level of social media burnout from content creation or whatever kind of burnout it is, comment below to let us know what kind of burnout you've experienced or are even experiencing now as we speak. So that way we can have an idea of just how different, how many different types of burnouts people can experience from a social media standpoint. So maybe we can speak to it.
Yeah, I think when you're a big supporter of this, and I know when we talk to clients too,
Mm-hmm.
and they are the content creators, the
Mm-hmm.
biggest thing that we ask them is do you love what you do, right? I mean, I know that that's a huge portion of what you teach in your classes
Mm-hmm.
is how to be happy. So if
Mm-hmm.
you're creating content because you think you're going to get a dollar,
Right.
you're going to get burned out very, very quickly.
Right. And that's kind of what keeps me on. You're right. I mean, I had a coach tell me years ago, it says just one. And I was like, what do you mean by that? It says just one. All if everything that you created just helped one person change their life, save their lives, or whatever the case may be, then it's worth it. And I was thinking
And
back, well, yeah, I've done more than one, but still, you know, how do I
well, and here's the thing,
mhm,
we know that like you've been on TikTok, there are a lot of people that will watch it, but they don't do the engagement.
mhm,
So there's so many people that don't react, that see it and that
mhm.
use your information,
And we have no
you
idea,
know, you have no idea.
right?
Unless, yeah,
Right? Because oftentimes we see this. Most of the time, we see reviews and feedback is from people who are not happy with it, or people who have negative experience from it. And most of the time, and it's a kind of sad thing, is that when good
yeah,
things happen, we don't think about going backwards in time to show gratitude and appreciation, or maybe update all the resources that helped you get to that point. So if you're
right.
listening to this and you've had some great things happen in your life, know that you didn't do that alone. It'd be good to go back in time and maybe give feedback and express appreciation from those that helped you along the way so that they can help others do the same. Be that feedback mechanism that inspires others to continue doing that because it helped you, you know. That's my little
Yeah.
kind of like
And remind
plea.
people. I know on our YouTube channel, when I've said, "Hey, if this content helps you, if you find it useful, please give us a like so we know what more content to create."
Yeah.
And those videos actually do get more likes.
Yeah,
So
sharing and
you just
sharing
got to
is
remind
caring.
people sometimes
Yeah,
too.
because we forget. We get stuck in the WIAFM network in our heads, right? What's in it for
Yeah.
me over and over again. We sometimes forget, oh yeah, we're one of many in this world around us, and the ones that we love and care about might even have the opportunity to do that. With that being said, yeah, if everything that we said thus far, and we'll remind you again later, it strikes a chord with you and it's helping you already, make sure you do share this, right? And then subscribe and hit notification in case you know. No, smash that like button.
Smash that like button.
Hit that notification bell.
One of the YouTubers that I like to watch is Wholesale Ted. I don't know if you've ever
Wholesale
seen her.
Ted.
She's a girl from Australia and she's amazing. She's just yeah, she does her YouTube channel very
Mm-hmm.
well, but
Mm-hmm.
she's always like, and if you she's got her hands like this, she's like, I sincerely appreciate a subscribe. It helps me.
Yeah,
She's
and
so
I'm sure the
cute.
accent helps too. You know, you're like, oh, I love that accent. Okay, of course I'll do it.
But she has valuable, very good content.
Yeah,
So,
and really, if
one of
you
the
do
reasons why I like
like
to
it,
watch some of her videos.
yeah, and I have to remind myself sometimes too when I see something that I like it, right? Because and 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 knowing the algorithm says, well, I don't want to flood my channel with this because I liked it and stuff like that because this is one person that I like, but I don't like the other people that do this kind of, well, do I like it or do I not like it? Okay, let me like it.
You can hide your likes. You know that, right? On YouTube. We'll talk.
Yeah,
You
and
can
and
hide
and
it.
and that's the thing. I had a conversation earlier with one of my business partners today, and they were like worried about with the whole crypto and the blockchain and security and everything like that and identity issues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I said, me personally, I don't have anything to hide. If I get complete, and this is my plan, if I get completely hacked, my ID gets completely obliterated. Someone takes all of my money. I have a game plan. I have a
Do
plan.
you?
I will basically find a retreat center where I can live in and just wake up and teach all day long for the rest of my life. And that's all I'm going to do. I don't care. I don't need anything.
And will you be happy with that?
I would be, actually.
Then why don't you just do that?
Because I like my technology stuff. I like being, because we're living in a retreat center. I don't have the ability to, well, maybe I would, but to have that global impact as much potentially, unless if I live and work in a high end, like, Esalen or something like that, some kind of a high end place. But I have things going on right now that require me to not go into that monk
Kind
like
of a hideout.
existence. Yeah, my monk like existence. I'm just saying I do have a game plan should things happen in that most extreme place. And it's interesting because people say, "Are you planning for the worst?" It's no. Look at what I'm going to do if in case that happens, I'm going to elevate to a different level, right? People say,
I'm
"Well,
gonna rise higher.
yeah." People say, "Worst case scenario, what if you lose your business, lose everything, and everything like that? Are you willing to go flip burgers?" I'm like, "Sure, that might be fun." But there are other thing part.
Why? Why would you even start thinking about that though?
No, it's not about that. It's about the scenarios of, especially during the whole pandemic thing. It's like, oh my god, what happens if then
The
what?
apocalypse.
Well, it's the fear. What drives people's fear? And the irony of it is that because I have the willingness to do anything, I'm not attached. My ego isn't attached to me going back to working in food service or anything like that, or just because I've gotten to this place in life. That actually keeps me from going in that direction because I'm not afraid of getting there.
Yeah.
But the fear of getting there, we manifest what we fear.
This is true.
If you plan for a rainy day, you're
So
basically putting energy to eventually manifesting a rainy day.
that's what I'm saying. So don't talk about it.
I'm not talking about it. I'm not putting energy to it. I'm saying that I have no fear around should that happen. I don't care. It's just
Yeah,
another
I see
shift,
what you're saying.
right?
It's just another level.
Yep.
Um, so I spoke to you about how I created my 3-month campaign, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that we've got it all planned out, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
really excited. It could totally fail. I mean, many times I've tried things and I'm really excited. I'm like, this is it. This is the one that's gonna obliterate the internet,
Right.
and I want to be in Forbes lists and everything else. And it goes over like a hot balloon, lead balloon, right? It's just
And I was like,
nothing.
hot balloon's
So
pretty good. Oh, lead balloon. Okay, yeah.
hot lead balloon.
Hot lead balloon. Oh, that might be painful, actually.
Might be
Searing into
painful.
my skin.
Could be that painful.
Right. But
After
here's
all
the
the
thing,
time and
though.
money and energy
Yeah,
we've been putting into this. But you know what? I always learn something,
exactly.
and it makes me excited for, yeah, maybe it'll work, but will it help someone, as you mentioned, and what will I learn?
Right.
So that's
Well, I
kind
mean,
of
we
where I'm
learn
going with
everything from
that.
our failures anyway. Remember,
Yeah.
we learn nothing from our successes. We learn everything from our failures.
Yeah. Yep.
Success is just proof that you learned from your failures.
It's true.
And that's why
And
those
one of
people
my
who never
things,
failed, that's why those people who never fail never feel like they can't even tolerate one failure, because it's like that golden or silver spoon or golden spoon effect, right? It's like, oh, wait, what is this?
but that's my point.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like burnout is not a failure. I feel like hitting that wall or seeing that is you realizing that you need to reanalyze whether it's
Right.
you, how you're coming out, are you putting too much time in it, not spending time for yourself?
Right.
What is it that's creating that? And that's kind of what we did with this 3-month campaign.
Mm-hmm.
As I mentioned, I didn't feel that that certain area was creating value, and that section was a little low for us.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because what we're not saying that this hitting this wall equates to failure. It's just it's part of the journey. It's a frustrating piece, and it has me, for me, how I deal with it is that I just stop and I'm like, why am I doing this? I just ask myself, why am I doing this? What is this for? Of course I
right.
remind myself, but then it's like, well, what's next then? What do I do? And then you reminded me and showed me a few things immediately off the bat. I was like, oh, I could do that.
Yeah.
Right.
But did it excite you then?
Um, I'm getting there because I'm trying to wrap my head around the workflow, and how
Yeah.
that then shifts. Because for me, it's all about efficiency, workflow,
Yep.
and doing
That's
it in
why
a
our
way that,
3-month campaign took so long, because it wasn't just the research. It was like, okay, how is this going to happen with all
right.
these spokes and
Mm-hmm.
coming together?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And as long as you're doing things that'll kind of continue to move forward in that direction, because my challenge sometimes is getting into analysis paralysis where I'm overthinking it, right? It's that fine line between planning and over planning before you actually just say, you know what, good is good enough. Let's go, let's do it, and just see what happens,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Because you're going to learn along the way, without a
Exactly.
doubt. I'm
Yeah.
excited for the suggestions I gave you, because I'm excited to see what happens.
I know. And, I'm excited to see what will happen if I end up looking at like my doppelganger. It's kind of in the same space, but not really. So,
So we should explain that, when you do research
hmm
for clients, you kind of can show clients. It can work two ways. Like, you could have said, Jennifer, I want to be like this person.
hmm
Like, why is he so like, how can we
how
duplicate,
do we model
reverse
success?
engineer what
Hmm
they're doing, right?
hmm
Or it could be me and, hey, which is what I did today. Hey, Way, wink, wink. Find him on Twitter. Hey, it's Way.
Hey,
Anyway,
it's way.
okay. So, um, look how this person is doing this, and you said that the only reason I thought of him was because you
This
guys
guy
look
literally
alike.
looks like me.
But I didn't.
We're like
Maybe
brothers. We
that
could
was an
probably be brothers, and we probably can talk the same language. I mean, it'd be so funny if I had him as a guest on my podcast. I say, hey, brother, I want you on my podcast so that we can look like doppelgangers because we talk the same language. Would you be open for it?
maybe it was an unconscious correlation, but
Oh,
it wasn't a
yeah.
conscious one.
Like more social medially successful way. Wait, be this like this guy. It's like, I don't want to be like this guy. He looks too much like me. Now
But I
people are
like
gonna
his
think I'm a
flow, and I like
copycat.
how they maximize their content.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I was going with that.
Yeah, no, and,
So,
and, and I agree. I mean, it's the sign of times. I almost want to kind of look at all of his stuff, and as I go back further in time, his videos were much longer, and then I think around 2 months ago, it started getting shorter.
isn't that when I told you about the algorithm?
Hush,
I did,
hush,
but we're not
little
going to get into
baby,
that.
don't say a word. Daddy's
Sometimes you
gonna
need to
hit your
listen to
head
people.
with a dead mockingbird.
Anyway, my point, but to bring back what we're talking about, even in my business, and this is for all businesses out there, if you haven't paid attention to TikTok and short form content, you are going to be missing the social media boat,
Right.
because I have struggled with it, and it is difficult to go from everything we were told before, do long form, really. People don't want it. People want short, bite-sized pieces of everything. So now
You
you really need to
watch.
look at your business even more.
Yeah. You watch. My happy snack today at noon is going to be short. Speaking of short, we should probably shorten up this podcast too.
I think so.
Is it possible then for us? Does it even make sense for two people hosting a podcast to have a 1 minute long podcast episode? That doesn't make any sense, does it?
Should we do a challenge?
Oh my God. It would drive me nuts. I don't even know where to begin.
So, just so you know, I'm asked to be on a podcast that is 9 minutes long.
9 minutes. Oh yeah, I've been on a couple of those. Basically, they ask you like 2 questions, 3 questions. They cut you off.
4
3 sentences.
questions.
Bam.
Yep.
Done.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, great. I am, and I wonder, is it because my teaching style is so unconsciously immersive? So what happens is I got to share this with you. Is that here's the challenge. I have learned over the years, and it's probably from the course of me working with my one-on-one clients, is I've learned to use language as a way to unlock the natural potential on an unconscious level. And it's not just like a bam, one word to, I mean, that's kind of like, There's a way to do that, but I don't think
Yeah.
it's as effective. And what it literally uses language to lure the conscious mind into a state of just openness and not and lower the defenses, so to speak, so that the unconscious mind can feel safe to let go of those blocks and those challenges. So how does one shorten that, right? I think that has been
Because
my
I
thing.
think that's your genius, and I think that people need to pay for that genius.
Oh, take that way. Bam. Mic drop. You should have just dropped your mic right now and just left for the rest of the episode and let me finish up, because that was like a bomb diddly moment.
But I want you to be short and to get them into that genius, right?
To
And I
get
think that's
to
the missing
make
piece.
them pause, I guess, for that moment.
Yeah.
Pause and think.
And you know how to you're the wizard with speech, so you know how to do that.
Mm, okay, that's a good idea. So I think if I structure, for me anyway, if structuring the videos to simply disrupt, pause, think, things that make you go and let it go like that, because that's all people have time for these days anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I was quoting you earlier. It's the 3 seconds you have for their attention. I don't even think it's three anymore. Quite honestly, I think
Like
it's
one,
even less.
it's like, hey, wrong word.
Listen, I can make a slideshow that shows pictures at zero point 0.1 second. So
Oh
there's a
God,
reason
that's
why.
why the thumbnail is so important, right? Oh my gosh. I mean, no. Case in point, I'm actually a product of that as well. I've noticed lately that my attention to even audiobooks is waning. So I will literally
Yes.
be driving, and as I'm driving this like 5, 6, 7 hour drive to go visit my dad, or to go pick up my dad anyway, Northern California, I'm like, okay, great. I can get caught up on my books and finish some books. No, I ended up coming all the way there, going there, coming back home with 5 unfinished books. I listened to a certain point. It's like, I'm bored. I'm done. Moving on.
I
God, these guys are so verbose. Blah. And books are the same way. There's stacks. It's like the bookmarks are like on the 75% mark, 80% mark, not done. Fiction,
And if
nonfiction
their
doesn't matter.
voice is very monotoned and you're driving, I don't want to be put to sleep while I'm
Exactly. I was
driving.
like, okay, I'm done with this. So guess what I found?
What?
There's a new app. Too bad they don't have an affiliate link, but that's okay. I don't care. Why hold back? I don't have to monetize everything. It's called Headway.
Oh,
Headway is like Cliff Notes. Remember Cliff Notes? Cliff Notes on
uh,
steroids. For example,
okay.
I was finally able to read Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now, which is just kind of like, oh, every time I try to read it, I'm like, dude, this guy's genius
I
and
can't read
crazy.
this.
And
Well,
what the heck is he
yes.
talking about? Um,
Thank you.
like like Dan Harris talked about it in his book 10% Happier. That book I finished. It's a great book.
I
But
did finish that one too.
right, it's fantastic. Dan Harris is good.
That was a good book.
And so I read it in 18 minutes. I read it, because Headway,
Eckhart Tolle, really?
what it does, it takes the main points, the most important points, the nuggets, and then you can let your mind, because our minds are so quick now to fill in the blanks, and you get the essence of the book in 20 minutes or less.
I think
Boom.
Amazon has something like that now too,
Mm-hmm.
where you could take the highlights.
Yeah. But Headway, that's all it is. And I was like, sign me up.
Sign me up.
Yeah. And I
But
did.
I
I
will
signed
say
up.
this, shout out to the entertainers in the world, Amy Pooler. If you've ever watched or listened to one of her um, audiobooks, she does it very entertainingly. She has other guests come on, and so it's like banter back and
Mm-hmm.
forth. And those books I can listen to for a while,
Right.
because it's
It's like
almost
a,
like listening to a
yeah, it's
podcast.
like a podcast. It's like a show, right?
Yeah, it's like a show.
Not
But see,
everybody's
that's
going to
the
read their own,
entertainer in
right.
them.
But not everybody's going to read their own books, right? So I'm actually doing a voiceover right now for a book, an audiobook.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think it's a fictional book. Okay, so I play one of the characters, and it's cool. I'm enjoying myself because I get to act. And
Yeah.
so he says, I want you to approach this as if it were a movie. I was like, this is cool. Except I
This is
don't
the
have to
coolest thing
dress
ever.
anything. Cool. Yeah, coolest thing ever. And then I'm sitting there going, I'm reading. So I'm reading the book, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is the mood that I'm in. This is the perception that I have, and it's so cool. And then I get to show up and it's like, what do you mean? And I get to make all these extra noises. Is whatever you feel like in the moment, just express it. It doesn't even have to be words, so you can fill in. It's like, so I was like, no, and all the script says is no. So I think those types of audiobooks, you're right, are entertaining
Yeah.
because they are actually bringing the experience to that, something that you can't get out of just
More
reading yourself.
engaged in it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, but anyway,
All right. We got to
we
be short now
digress. Yeah,
because
we got
we
to be
just,
short
yeah, I
now.
know.
But so
See what happens. This
we'd
is
love to hear
why.
your thoughts. No, I mean, thank you for that. I mean, I actually got a lot out of this episode because of what a couple of those mic drop moments that you gave to me, and just kind of, talking out what my challenges are, and you sharing what you're doing with your thing, and with your Instagram campaign. But would love to hear what your thoughts are. If you've been hitting a wall, or you have hit walls, more than one, would love to hear what those walls were or are that you're dealing with, and if you post it on there, we actually pay attention and will respond and lets us know. And it also helps the algorithm so that we can help more people. Because if this helped you, like it helped me and helped you as well, Jen, sharing is caring. Share it. Be kind. Love your
Give us a
people.
like.
Give us a
Love your.
like. And if you didn't like it, then just give us a dislike, because
That's
that's
all
still
right.
feedback. That
Dislike
way
is
we
good
know.
too.
Dislike is good too. Just whatever it is. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and that way we can make sure that we show up in your reminders. If you like us and you want to hear more about us later.
And if you want to reach out to Wei on Twitter, you can go to hey_it's Wei,
Just like
WEI.
that. And if you want to find Jen for all your social media needs, because that's her life and she loves it, you go to Jen at Jen Stinnett. Double N, double T's on all instances of that letter. That's the best
It's a
way to say
weird
it.
one.
Jen, if the N comes up, double it. If the T comes up, double it. Oh, except for the first T. Oh,
The
shoot.
first T.
That didn't work. Okay, forget
Double
that rule.
N's. We're good with that though.
Double N's ends with a double T. Jen Stinnett. Okay.
There you go.
But anyway, we're going to be probably off air for a couple of weeks because you are traveling, taking care of family things. But look for the announcement of when our audio podcast will be out. So in case you don't have the time to sit down and watch us on video, you can listen to us in audio format, like a long audio book.
Thanks for showing up, everyone.
Yep. All right. We'll see you soon. Okay. See ya.
Bye.